Hello and welcome to episode 192 of The Pitcher or the Hitter, the podcast by the M-SABR Dynasty League for the M-SABR Dynasty League. I am Cam,
Sahil.
and we are fresh out of the All-Star break, fresh out of the long week, and we have had a bit of a shakeup in the standings. Got a couple teams on 5 game winning streaks and a couple teams losing last week, and it is really tight now.
Yeah, this was a frustrating one for me. Uh that was just a painful 2 weeks of just sitting there and knowing I was just getting absolutely crushed by Jake. Who shout out to him. He like went from looking like he was toast to just like absolutely dominating out of nowhere. I did not see that coming, but that's what happens when your stars get healthy. Um, but yeah, just a crazy week. I'm no longer the 1 seed, and I don't like that. But uh, here we are. It's a pretty damn competitive top six here. All six of those teams are separated by 2.5 games, and um, a lot of these teams play each other down the stretch, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And then for the teams who aren't doing so hot, I mean, this is going to be a pretty good trade market, I think. Some teams have already started to take advantage of that. Um, do we want to jump into that?
Yeah, let's do it. The first trade we're going to talk about is going to be mine, right?
Yeah. Ironically, I said that the bottom teams will take advantage of it, but it was the two playoff teams.
Yeah, no, me and Jake currently both in the playoffs, both like I alluded, having won 5 straight at this point. Made a deal recently, and I think it's a real win-win. Let me pull up the specifics here. Um, Something went wrong. Reload. Oh, it actually fixed it. Um,
Hey,
I sent um, Taylor Ward to Jake for Matt Boyd and his 2026 second. I used that 2026 second in a later trade that we'll talk about at that point. But basically, Taylor Ward, um, been playing well lately, got off to a really dreadful start, but has been hitting a lot of homers. Still super low on base percentage through it all, but you can't deny the power is there. I just really haven't needed him, though. He wasn't really playing much in my lineup lately. Um, and now, granted, now that I've had a couple injuries, maybe he could fit in my lineup a little bit more now. Um, but I've had the best hitting in the league all season, and especially recently. I feel like I could trade from a position of strength for a position of need, and Matthew Boyd is definitely a need for my team. He's pitching great. He is old. There are some injury concerns, and I was able to kind of parlay those into getting the second. But I feel like it's just kind of um, and on Jake's side, um, he had a lot of starting pitching and needed someone in the outfield, especially with Jordan out for a while. So I think this really um, is something that helps us both.
yeah, that's fair. Here's my take on it. Like, I get that it's a need for need, but it just I can't get past the injury as well with Boyd, and not just the injuries necessarily, but I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of a dip in performance in the second half. Like he's got the 2.34 ERA, right? That's great. The FIP xERA xFIP are solid, but like it is higher than that ERA. Um, he has 111 and two-thirds innings this year, which is the most that he has had since 2019. That is already more than 30 innings more than he's had in any season since 2019. So I worry, does he kind of, tire down the stretch? Is he not going to be, perform as well? Does he start to pitch closer to that, xFIP, which is 385, or that xERA, which is 332, which would mean that he would have to have a higher ERA than that just to get the ERA up closer to those numbers. I just like I just worried that Jake just sold high here. And meanwhile, Ward, I think, was a pretty solid buy low. Like he has 23 homers right now in 421 plate appearances. Yeah, the OBP is low, but the is by far the lowest of his career. It's 259. It was a little lower even at the time you made the trade, and Ward's been hot recently, and I think that and the BABIP's gone up with it, so I don't think that there's any mistake there. This is by far a career high ISO at 260. 23 homers and 421 plate appearances after 25 and 663 last year. Like he's gonna get the 30 homers, I think. All the projection systems even have a couple of them have him hitting 35 home runs. I just, man, like I know he's gonna be 32 next year, but man, I would have kept him.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really don't have a spot for him. I'm yeah, I get that he's hitting well, but I needed Boyd a lot more than I needed him.
That's fair, and I don't I don't hate the need for need aspect of this. I just think you could have gotten a better pitcher than Boyd. Like, why not? Like,
I don't know. I like what I've seen from Boyd quite a bit this year, and I get that the health is a concern, but that's true for any pitcher. Um, and I was and kind of by talking up the health concern, I was able to get an extra second round pick in there. And I mean the numbers, I think the Cubs have unlocked something with him.
maybe. I mean, I think it's never really been a question of talent with Boyd. Although I think see something. No, I mean he's always been a little walk rate guy too. I don't think it's ever been a question of talent. It's just been a question of health. I actually didn't realize he went to Seattle in 22 and then came back to Detroit and started 15 games for them in 23. I had no idea he did that.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah, that's wild. But now I've never been a big Boyd guy, even when he was like popping off in 18 and 19. Like that 19 season, right? It was 1156 K per nine, 243 walk per nine, but he gave up so many home runs and just the ERA and FIP weren't there. Like I just wasn't able to get him then. I don't get him now.
And I guess that's fair, but I feel happy with the deal. And why don't we parlay that into the second deal I made because I used that pick that I got in addition to Boyd in a three-team deal.
Yeah, this one was it's the first three-team deal we've had in a while. I thought this is a really creative structure, so I'll give you kudos for that. You have been struggling with holds all year. You got a couple of them, Brian King and Alex Vesia, and Andrew got Jake's 2026 second. He was the one who gave up Vesia. And Ruthvik got Yuki's 2028 third. He was the one who gave up King. Why don't you explain your logic here?
Yeah, so I kind of I was reaching out separately um to Andrew and to Ruthvik about these relievers. I was talking to Andrew about Vesia. We were kind of doing like the sort of thing where I trade a second to Andrew for Vesia and get a third back. I've done deals like that plenty of times in the past. I like that format a lot. Um, and then separately, I was talking to Ruthvik, or really, this all kind of came together on the last day. Ruthvik put Brian King on the block. Um, I reached out on him. We kind of agreed on a third. And then I kind of decided, well, wait a minute. What if I give Ruthvik the third that I'm getting back from Andrew? And we can loop Andrew in on this and call it a three-team deal and just have Andrew send that third directly to Ruthvik instead. We all kind of agreed, thought it was agreeable. And I got two holds guys. The holds have really been my big issue all season. They have just really disastrously bad hold streaming has inflated my ERA by a lot. And kind of looking through the numbers, my starting pitching has been a little better than I thought it had been. But the bullpen has been really terrible. I was not getting holds, and when I was trying to get holds, I was getting guys who would pitch an inning and give up five earned. Um, So kind of having two really decent holds guys, I feel like helps raise my floor for ERA, um, and help me stay competitive in that category. And I
Yeah,
all I gave up was a second round pick that I kind of extorted from Jake anyway.
I'm generally not of the philosophy of trade for holds unless it's like the elite of the elite holds guys. Like I'm thinking like a Brian Abreu type, right? But you've been so bad in holds where I think that this was a pretty reasonable price just to go get a couple holds guys you liked. Um, and I think or not Jake, Andrew and Ruthvik did good to extract some value out of holds guys, and they could just use that spot to stream. I will say it seems like it would be easy just to stream holds. It really is not. And I think there is something to be said about having a couple holds guys that you really trust to keep on your roster for most of the year. So, I think this makes sense all around.
Yeah, no, and I've had a lot of luck some years streaming holds, but this was not one of those years.
Yeah, yeah. You should have picked up Randy Rodriguez when he was available.
I don't know, I thought Eric Miller was the guy in that bullpen, and I was wrong.
Oh no, you were very wrong about that. There was like four guys who were like all-star worthy better than him, or maybe not all of them, but all right. Speaking of trades, I also made two trades, and similar to you, one trade kind of dovetailed into the other. Let's dig into the first one here. I traded George Lombard Jr. To Andrew for Drew Rasmussen and Andrew's 2027 third round pick. Now, uh, I regretted this trade almost immediately. Um, and that's something I think it very rarely happens to me when I trade a prospect for a major leaguer, but in that time frame at least. But what ended up happening was Rasmussen, before I traded for him, had a start where he went like 3 innings, 4 earned, and I was like, like he just wasn't pitching well. They pulled him early, whatever. They don't usually let him get to like 100 pitches. That's fine. And then he had a short outing the next outing. And then they were like, well, we're going to ease up on him a bit. They're going to use him more as an opener, like 2, maybe 3 innings. And I was like, shit. And then I started to market him immediately. I pitched him to a couple teams. I actually pitched this to Connor like well before the All-Star break. Um, like a couple days after I got Rasmussen, and he finally got back to me today. He needed a prospect added in Jefferson Rojas, and it worked out. So Rasmussen, I think, or talking about the original deal first. I really like Rasmussen, right? I think I posted it at the time of the trade. He was like fourth in stuff plus at the time, like up there near like I think it was like Skeens and Crochet were ahead of him. I think he was tied with Wheeler. Christopher Sanchez was just ahead of him. Like a great group. Um, and the ERA was great. He has a whip that was like right at 1. I was like, this is just on a per inning basis. He's a really good starting pitcher, but he's had 3 major elbow surgeries now. The Rays want to be a playoff team, so they have kind of a 150 inning limit for him. If he went like 5 innings and each start the rest of the way, he would hit that in a regular season. They wouldn't have him in the postseason, but they might need him in the regular season still just to get there. So while they did eventually be like, hey, they were eventually like, we're gonna move him back to like the five and dive pitcher. Like, I just didn't trust where that was gonna go. So, while I do think next year he's gonna be full ready to go, 180 inning guy, and I think Connor's really gonna enjoy him. I just couldn't get there with him this year. So, especially some of the other questionable starters I got at the bottom of the rotation, so I have to trade him. Um, I think Andrew did great getting George Lombard Jr. for me. I know the numbers haven't looked great, but I think he's a pretty talented guy. I know Baseball America just put him in their top 20 prospects. I know a lot of other people are high on him. So I think it's a nice get for him for a guy that, he picked up off of free agency after Yuki dropped him. And I think from Connor's perspective, getting Rasmussen, I think. this is kind of a nice arm for him to add to a rotation next year. It's going to be headed by Brian Wu, and he's got Andrew Avin, he's got Casey Mize. So this is a nice little rotation he's got going. And I think he's got a little bit of position player depth there. Some of the positions that Bellinger plays, and I know Bellinger's been a little up and down throughout his career, but he's been on a tear for the Yankees after his slow April. Pretty much since the beginning of May, he's been awesome. So, um, I think he's a really nice get for me for an offense that needed a little bit of a kick in the butt after starting off really well. I've slumped a bit. So, um, yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. I like the deal a lot for Andrew to get George Lombard Jr. from you. He's kind of breaking into even like into top tens in some lists I'm seeing. So I feel like yeah, Andrew definitely is a clear winner in that deal. Rasmussen, he's not staying healthy and he's got a 3.68 FIP right now. So I think that's a great get for Andrew, a good retool move. I also he's also scheduled to face my team that that night for Andrew. So it was nice to kind of get him off of Andrew's roster to um help me win against him. Um and yeah, you getting Bellinger. I haven't looked at Bellinger's numbers this year. Looks like he's been really solid. So I think that's yeah, your offense, I agree, has been struggling. You've had a lot of guys both hurt and underperforming. So getting Bellinger, I definitely see it.
Yeah, 127 WRC plus. Very happy with that on the season for him. I think this is starting to look more like that 2023 season he had with the Cubs, as opposed to that season last year he had with them, which was like fine, but nothing super great. So, if he could perform like this over the next few years, I'd be pretty happy with that. I think this is a guy I could easily see myself keeping for a few years. Or he just turned 30 earlier this month, so um, wouldn't be surprised if he kind of became one of the outfielders I keep for a bit.
I
Um,
think I'd be surprised by any player you keeping for a little bit, but
touche, touche. Yeah, you're probably not wrong about that. Um,
I bet you trade him back to EBO in the offseason.
Zayn has such a love-hate relationship with Cody Bellinger. It depends on the day. Remember when he was like Cody Bellinger was like a top 20 player on that like Cubs season
I
where he
see.
was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then he wanted nothing to do with him and traded him for Luis Robert Jr., which
Oh
God,
my
he's had
God.
an awful year.
That's wow. I forgot about that trade.
I can't tell if Robert is like bad or if just being in Chicago has sucked the soul out of him and that's just like caused him to be ass.
That's the thing. It genuinely could be either.
Like, imagine going to the ballpark every day and knowing you're going to lose. Like, imagine walking into work every day knowing that the day is going to be absolute shit. Like, you're not giving it your all at that point, you know. Um,
Huh?
you can't be a good player and be on a team that loses 121 games and give it your all the time. And I it's a hot take, but like I don't blame them.
No, I mean it's I certainly get it, and I wonder. And I was wondering this last year if the change of scenery could be helpful for him. But yeah, it's hard to see him. I wonder if he's going to get a chance with another team. I mean, although if Andrew Vaughn could get a chance with another team and do well, then so can Luis Robert.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Uh, I just hope he gets out and it works out for him.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to move on to the matchups from the long week, though?
Uh, yeah, let's do it. Where do we want to start first?
Why don't we talk about your matchup first because that one had the most playoff implications on it, and it did not um, go the way a lot of people thought.
I, so I kind of thought that Jake was gonna win because I think he's been playing better recently. So I don't think the result necessarily surprises me. I think the thorough beatdown was what surprised me. I mean, Jake's team just went off, and granted, I noticed was a 10-game week, but like 75 runs, 32 doubles, 24 homers, 81 ribbies, 348 OBP. Like that's fantastic. He had 9 quality starts out of 17, 7 saves, 250 ERA, 101 WHIP. I mean, just fantastic across the board. And it's not like I had like just an odd awful week. 16 steals, 58 ribbies, I think was in the top half of the league, right? Like the um uh 399 ERA, 7 quality starts, 123 Ks is like fine, but um yeah, just did not work out. Um I think my Jake's team's on a tear right now. I said it at the very beginning. He's won 5 straight. His team's playing really well. All these players, where the hell did George Springer come out from again to like suddenly be elite again? You gave him Taylor Ward, who just completely dominated this week. He had 10 RBIs in his last 4 games. No, no, sorry, 11 RBIs and 15, 17 RBIs in his last 9 games.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. You see, I told you should have kept him.
I didn't need him this week, and I needed Matt Boyd this week.
All right, touche. I still think you lost that trade, but like, yeah, it's just like kudos to Jake. Like, no one was gonna keep him down that long, and I mean, my only solace was that uh, I beat him 10-2 the first time. So, and I managed to tie strikeouts to only lose 9-2 to 1. So if a tiebreaker comes up against him for regular season seeding, I would own a tiebreaker against him. It's my only solace. Other than that, just a disgusting week that I'm turning the page on, and I'm on to Yuki. Just like Belichick on to Cincinnati, I'm on to Yuki.
You're on to Yuki. Yuki, we're on to you. Um, yeah, um, um, yeah, I can't imagine that tiebreaker is going to come into play, but yeah, you
I
just
don't
nailed.
know. He's only like 2.5 back.
Yeah,
I guess there's 6 weeks left, which is hard to believe. There's only 6 weeks left, but
yeah, this year is going by. They always go by quickly.
they
And
always do. Yeah, you look up and you're like, shit. There's only 5 weeks. I get that way after like the first third of the season. I feel like we're just running out, and I'm like, I want this so bad, just to last forever.
yeah, don't we all? But yeah, awesome week from Jake's team. He really is firing on all cylinders. You mentioned Taylor Ward. Great week for Manny Machado. Um, God, Ward drove in 14 runs. Yeah, Machado hit 4 homers, drove in 8. Corey Seager had a 500 OBP with 8 RBI. Great week for Acuna. On the pitching side, um, I mean, Jake had a 2.49 ERA, 9 quality starts, 123 strikeouts. It is a long week, of course. And I think I got to give matchup MVP to Nick Pivetta, who had 2 of those quality starts. He got the 20 strikeouts, 0.49 ERA, allowing just 1 run in 18 and a third innings.
Wish the Orioles signed him in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he would, yeah, instead of
Tomoyuki Sagano.
Yuki Sagano and
We got blown up against it. The Orioles took a 3-0 lead in the first, and then and I was like, okay, great. Like maybe it'll actually win a game. And then first 3 batters was like a walk, a single, and then a 3-run home run by Jose Ramirez. It's like you're fucking kidding me.
brutal.
Uh, Yeah, so it's just yeah, what a day. The Orioles lost 10-5. They gave up like 5 runs in the eighth because of course we sucked. Something called Griff Wolfram was pitching, or Grant Wolfram after Corbin Martin. Do you remember Corbin Martin?
I do. Corbin Martin was the D-backs prospect.
Yeah, he is on this roster right now. I mean,
And
that
he
should
swapped
just
Corbin Martin and Corbin Burns.
fun fact. So I originally got Corbin Martin in a deal with EBO. I traded Zach Greinke, Eddie Rosario, Michael Brantley, and Nelson Cruz to EBO for Max Fried, JD Martinez, Corbin Martin, Luis Matos, and a couple second round picks.
Damn.
Um, 9 days later, for Ruthvik's 2022 second round pick, uh, a pick which you ended up using to take Jay Allen, one pick after Matt McClain.
Man, I
When
wanted McLean so bad. I thought for sure I got those two picks back to back. I thought for sure I was getting Frelick and McLean.
and you traded me to 12th overall pick there, where I took Harry Ford, and I think you would have happily taken one of those to a 12 maybe, or in hindsight at least.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't remember who I had on the board at 12, but I thought, I don't know. I don't know.
well, so if it makes you feel better, the uh, Yuki, who ended up getting that pick, um, at the time, or sorry, he gave me that pick. Uh, he got something worse than Jay Allen. He got Corbin Martin and Austin Gomber for that
Oh,
second
that's
pick. That was the trade. Like,
pretty bad.
yeah, that's bad.
But yeah, so Jake got the win. Whose matchup do we want to talk about next here?
I just wanted to say that trade basically sums up how I feel about this matchup. But in terms of who we want to talk about next, uh, why don't we talk about your matchup? Because this one got really close on Sunday. So, um, there was a scenario where, so I think like Anthony was down 7 strikeouts, and I guess you were in the air, so you didn't realize you left Trevor Rogers on your bench. Anthony was leading OBP at the time, so I was like, he said he was only down 5-7, and I was like, okay, like Anthony's gonna flip strikeouts. He's got Crochet going, right? He's got Kershaw going, and he had Andrew Heaney going. I was like, and Heaney's going against the White Sox. I was like, there's no way he doesn't flip strikeouts. He was only down 2 quality starts to you. And I was like, okay, Crochet's going to go in against the Cubs. Maybe Heaney can pull it out against the White Sox. Who's the other guy? I literally just said his name. Oh, Kershaw. I was like, maybe Kershaw could pull it out against Milwaukee. Um, and then like if he can keep OBP like and all that, like he wins 6-5-1, Cam would be pissed. Like it'd be such a fun podcast. And then Uh, Anthony cannot get the strikeouts. Like Crochet didn't really strike anybody out, and Kershaw didn't really strike anyone out. Heaney got a couple. Like, and actually, when he left the game, when Kershaw left the game, he was his last starter. You two were tied in strikeouts. You had a couple relievers get you up there. You flipped OBP, and it ended up becoming a non-issue. But you had to sweat it out there at the end a little bit, which I know you're gonna make a comment about. That's just what happens with you. You know, you think you're gonna win like 10-2, and next thing you know, it's like 6-5-1 on the last day. But um, yeah, it ended up being closer than I thought it would be.
I mean, yeah, that is you say I'm going to make a comment, but that is what keeps happening. I mean, I don't know why it keeps happening, but it does. And yeah, another one I had to sweat out, I guess, without realizing I was sweating it out because again, I was in the air on a plane. I didn't have much signal, so I couldn't really set my lineup to get Trevor Rogers in there and or get like, get Bohm on my IL so that I could stream some sort of something. Um, Yeah, I guess I'm lucky I flipped on base percentage back because otherwise it could have been very close. Um, I feel great about the way my team played though in general. Like Anthony just played really well too, but like I scored 85 runs. I had a good on base. I um, stole a lot of bases. My pitching looked really strong. I had a 0.972 whip. So like, nothing to complain about really on my side. Um, you know, great week from Zach Neto, who scored 14 runs. Um, I've been rostering Tyler Freeman, who's been doing okay. Um, Brandon Nimmo had a good week. Juan Soto had a good week. Um, Matt Boyd, 8 strikeouts, or 8 shutout innings, rather, with 6 strikeouts his first game or his first week with my team. Two quality starts for Mitch Keller, who pitched really well. Dylan Cease made one excellent start and one not so great start. Framber Valdez made an awesome start. Um, I got 2 holds from Alex Vesia and 3 from Brian King. And you know what? That didn't quite win me holds, but I got 5 holds from my new acquisition, so I'm loving that. Um, and then yeah, with Matt Boyd pitching well, also, um, this might have even won me ERA, just the performances of these guys. Trevor Rogers, I picked up on June 30th, and he's like locked in my rotation now. I'm very, very happy to have him. And yeah, just feeling fine. Matchup MVP is Neto, who, in addition to the 14 runs, stole 3 bases and had a 429 OBP.
Yeah. Um, well said.
Also,
Um,
shout out to Xander Bogaerts, who is kind of on a heater lately. He's got his on base percentage up to 346, and he's currently
yeah.
fifth in the player rater among second basemen, I believe.
I I thought he was cooked. I haven't seen his numbers recently. I mean, 6 homers, 16 steals,
I mean,
35 runs.
he's hot lately for sure, and the
That's
the
fair.
full season numbers are coming up, and the on base percentage is decent, but yeah, especially lately, he's been a lot better.
Yeah, I still can't wrap my head around um that contract.
No, that is yeah, bad one for them. Um, but yeah, as for Anthony, the offense looked decent. He drove in 87 runs. He hit 25 homers, which was the most of any team besides EBO, and only one behind EBO. He had the most RBI of any team, by quite a bit. I believe, yeah, Jake had 81, which was second to Anthony's 87, and no one else was even above 70. Um, so really strong week at the bat for Anthony. And it's nice to see him doing that uh, because of Mike Trout.
Yeah, it's good to see Trout back healthy. I, I don't know if you saw this, but Ruthvik posted something in the chat yesterday um about Trout. So Trout has 1,708 hits in a regular season. There's an active player with 1,704, so 4 or less. Did you see who that was?
I do not believe I did.
He is a Reds legend.
So what, 4 hits fewer than Mike Trout,
Yeah, over the course of his career.
an active player?
Active player.
Hmm?
He's an outfielder.
Who is an outfielder who is active, who played for the Reds, who has uh
Played for the Cubs as well. If I
Red
told you the last team, I would give it away.
Reds and Cubs. Let me think about this for a second.
There is a team before the Cubs and a team after the Reds. So four teams total.
God, I am blanking on anyone who's ever been with the Reds. And this is someone who's like clearly had a really nice career too. Um,
Let me know when you give up.
it's not Harrison Bader, is it?
No, it isn't. Was Harrison Bader ever a Red?
Yes, Harrison Bader was a Red. He was
No
terrible.
way. No way
He
he
was,
was
do
a
you
Red.
remember when that one season when a bunch of teams waived guys on August 31st to save money?
Oh my God, I did not know that.
Yeah, Harrison Bader was one of those guys.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, where was he before? Oh, so he was at the Yankees before that. Okay.
He's-
Jesus. Um, did you know while he was with the Cardinals, he partnered with Sonic Drive-In to sell Bader tots at participating St. Louis area locations?
I feel like I do remember seeing that.
Love it. Yeah.
Give me like one more minute to try and think of who this was.
You're gonna be really annoyed at yourself when you don't get it. It's like it's a pretty obvious name. He's been traded once in this league last year.
Here. Um,
Let me know if you want one last hint.
Not Brian. Who's been Reds outfielders? It's not Brian Goodwin. It's not Stuart Fairchild. Um, it's not Shin-Soo Choo.
Still active.
Still
So yeah.
active, man.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one more hint.
Is it Tyler
Well,
Naquin?
no, I was the one who traded him away last year.
Oh, it's Castellanos.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
that's
There
right.
you go.
Okay. So wow, that's so he's got almost the same number of hits as Mike Trout, and I feel like they started their careers around the same time, didn't they?
Trout was like 2011, and Castellanos, because I think they're around the same age, probably had to be a similar time.
Hmm.
Castellanos played in 11 games in 2013 with 18 plate appearances. His first full season was 2014. So
Oh, Trout's yeah, Trout
Trout's first full
takes it a lot.
season was 2012, but he had 135 plate appearances in 2011.
Oh man. But yes, which matchup? We've only gone through two of them. Why don't we talk about Erik narrowly edging out Yuki?
Yeah, Yuki, not realizing that it was a multi-week matchup, like at the end of Sunday, it was like GG. And I told Yuki, well, it's a 2-week matchup. And he was like, yeah, I'm not coming back against Erik. And he almost did. There was a point on Sunday where if he got a solo shot, he would have tied Erik. And he needed uh, one more run after that to be winning against Erik. Erik got a little bit of a home run barrage at the end of the day on Sunday to kind of pull apart a bit. Um, and he got a clutch quality start from Grant Holmes. It didn't look like he was going to get it after struggling a bit early in the game, but he pulled it out. And Yuki ended up losing, but a damn good effort for him to hang in there. Really unfortunate for him in the playoff hunt as he does drop a game and a half behind Jake for the sixth seed now. Um, with five of the six teams currently locked into the playoffs winning, but a good effort by him nonetheless.
Yeah, no, this would have been a big win for him to stay in the playoff picture, and it would have been a really tough loss or tie for Erik, um, in terms of kind of trying to hold on to the bye. But instead, Erik was able to pull it out 7-5. I mean, yeah, pretty strong offensive week for him with the 70 runs, 17 steals. Pitching, I mean, he had the quantity with 102 strikeouts, but the rate stats were kind of mid this week. I mean, a 3.68 ERA, a 1.34 WHIP. Looking at some guys, I mean, Tyler Glasnow was awesome. Noah Cameron made two really strong starts. Um, Two quality starts with a 1.32 ERA. You got a couple of saves from Anthony Bender. Um, and on the hitting side, Jose Ramirez, I think, has to be matchup MVP, though. 13 runs, 13 RBI, five homers, and seven steals to go the 400 on base percentage. Just insane work. With a shout out to Brent Rooker, who's not having, or I think he's having a great season. And he had a great week this week as well. Um, yeah, not a ton of other standout performances though, besides those guys, and Ellie had a good week too. Um, Yuki's team, Yuki hit 36 doubles, which I don't know. That might be a record um for most doubles coming in a long week or something like that, because that is absurd. Uh, to hit 36 doubles. Um, Bryce Harper doubled seven times uh, this week. And then a whole bunch of guys had three or more, or had three exactly. Um, but yeah, Yuki just couldn't quite um yeah, get the steals or the runs. Um, if he had gotten those, he could have had a real shot at winning.
Yeah, it is a shame. I think I speak for everyone in the league when I say I would have liked Yuki to have pulled off the upset, but I am definitely encouraged by how he played. Great doubles week, as you said, and hopefully, I mean, he plays me this week, so I'm hoping he doesn't turn around this week. But I hope he makes it interesting down the stretch so that, what looks like it might be a foregone conclusion who the six playoff teams are. I hope that doesn't actually come true. Um, but we shall see.
We shall see. And yeah, Erik has now moved into first place with another win. Um, but yeah, again, everything is still super, super tight.
Yep.
Yeah, we gotta fly through these. Um, I think because it's getting late.
Yeah.
Uh, what about Ruthvik versus Andrew? This was one that a couple weeks ago we had circled and said, hey, if Ruthvik's stumbling and Andrew is on a winning streak, maybe this is where these teams kind of start to flip-flop in the standings. But Ruthvik won, and it was because of his hitting, not his pitching.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by that. He swept the offensive categories, only won two of the six pitching categories, but that was enough for him to pull out the victory here. Andrew did make it close, and Homer's only down one, Ribby's only down four, um, and only down one save, so he definitely kept it competitive, but and they went back and forth most of the week, but Ruthvik pulled it out in the end. Huge win for him as he tries to maintain his position towards the top of the standings with a lot of other teams playing really well. This is one he needed to have. I think we knew the nail was in the coffin for Andrew already, but I think this confirms it even more. Um, just yeah, Ruthvik winning a matchup he needed to. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Um, and yeah, 77 runs, 34 doubles. We talked about Yuki's 36, but Ruthvik hit 34. And then 16 steals, and then a really strong on base percentage. Just running down a list of names. Victor Scott stole three bases. Bo Bichette had a really strong OBP. Um, Lars Nootbaar had a decent week when he was in the lineup. Julio Rodriguez scored 12 runs. Jordan Beck had a 419 OBP. Matchup MVP, very easy. Nick Kurtz, Ruthvik's first round pick this past draft. Homered five times, 12 runs, 13 ribbies, stole a base, and had a 526 OBP.
Kurtz is
Uh,
an absolute stud. I think he's already a top five dynasty first baseman.
Yeah, I would have loved to get him in the draft. He has been awesome so far. Um, on the pitching side, not so great. But I'm not, super worried. He had a lot of the bad ERA came from a Tommy Kahnle, really two straight Tommy Kahnle blowups in which he gave up 4 runs and 3 runs against the Mariners without allowing or without getting a single out. The rest of his pitching was kind of fine. Joe Ryan was good. Jose Barrios, wasn't that great. Jesus Luzardo was okay. Um, yeah, so not super worried there, despite the 4.82 ERA this week.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Still solid pitching staff he has. Um, but yeah, I'm curious to see how this team does now. The schedule gets tougher for Ruthvik here. Coming up, he has uh you, then Erik, then EBO the next 3 weeks. So really critical that he beat Andrew here. I didn't realize he snapped a 3-game losing streak. Actually against you and Jake and EBO. So Jesus Christ, that was an easy week in a 7-week stretch here. Um, but for his sake, I hope he can pull it out.
Yeah, we'll see. He's got a tough one this week too. Um, yeah, we shall see how he does. Two matchups to go. Um, neither of them are that close. Why don't we talk about Alex and Zach getting another win and moving into a tie in the standings with Connor?
Yeah, no good for Alex and Zach.
Actually, let's back up here. We before Andrew says something, we didn't mention uh, his team at all.
Cut
We've done this before.
Yeah,
Yeah, not the best week for Andrew. Won he won 4 pitching categories. He got 7 quality starts. The ERA and WHIP were fine. They were well enough to win. Um, I like the week I saw from Schwarber. Marcus Semien scored 10 runs despite a low on base percentage. Um, Soderstrom homered a few times. And then pitching wise, shout out Chris Bassett with 12 innings pitched and 6 strikeouts, despite only allowing 1 run. Um, whereas Ryan Pepiot was kind of the opposite. He struck out 17, but had a ERA of 5. Great week for Yuri Perez, though, who made a quality start, and Nick Lodolo, 2 quality starts, allowing 2 runs in 13 innings. So there's a lot to like from Andrews pitching this week, and particularly from some guys who are young and could be on his next playoff team.
no, absolutely. I think he's going to be one of the more interesting teams here as we approach the our fantasy trade deadline. I think he has a couple really big pieces that could help contending teams that I think he's motivated to move. I mean, I'm looking at particular in Kyle Schwarber, who had a fantastic week, right? 5 homers, 11 ribbies. I know he's DH only, but that would help pretty much any of the contending teams. I could tell Marte too. I still can't believe he got robbed during the all. I guess it doesn't surprise me. It seems to happen to players fairly often, but I just as a quick aside, I think the real kicker is that he looked like got robbed of like $400,000, and then they put him on the restricted list, which means that the D-backs didn't pay him, which really sucks for him. But um,
It
so I think
does.
he's got two pieces there which he could really sell, and then some ancillary pieces, Semi and Friedel. I think he can move one of his catchers, maybe Will Smith, if he really wants to kind of sell him at what I think might be the peak of his value. So. It's going to be interesting. I think Andrew could really star at the deadline here, or I think he could hold tight and just, kind of in the hopes that next year's team's better, which I don't think is a bad strategy either. So I think he's got a lot of different options, and I think he can afford to be flexible.
Yeah, I agree. I could see either of those making sense for him. Um, yeah, we'll just have to see. I know a lot of teams have been kind of shuffling and making small moves now, so we'll see if that's something that continues. All right, yes. Alex versus Connor, why don't we get into this thriller? Um, Alex is 4-11-1 now. He has won 4 out of 6. That's not bad. Um, one of those wins was against Andrew. One of them was against Yuki. So those are teams that, have proven they can win games occasionally, and he's beating them. Um, and yeah, now a win over Connor puts him tied with Connor for 10th, in fact. Um, didn't really hit super well this week, um, but um, but pitched pretty decently. Had a 3.30 ERA, 115 WHIP. Um, had three different pitchers with two quality starts each, namely Christopher Sanchez, Brandon Walter, and Shane Baz. They all pitched well. I think I'll give the matchup MVP to Walter, who had the most strikeouts and a really strong whip. And also just the fact that I don't really know who he is very well is kind of good for him. Meanwhile, Connor, 46 strikeouts in a long week is a tough look. And the pitching was just pretty bad. He only, used the seven pitchers that were in his lineup. And Andrew Abbott continues to look good and make him have somewhat mildly respectable numbers, but that's kind of it for Connor.
He's got Brian Wu too, and Casey Mize both had really nice seasons. I mean, I wouldn't.
Mm,
It's not just Abbott.
that's true. It was good.
Yeah. Um. No, I think so. I think Alex's team again. When he was losing early on, I said this team is better than the record, and I think his record is starting to more accurately reflect his team. And I still think his team has a lot of up and coming young talent. I think this week kind of reflects that. I don't really have much more to add here. I mean, that's just kind of how these two teams are at this point, as they're just kind of riding it out here, jockeying for a good draft pick.
Yeah, basically. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, these will both be lottery teams. Final matchup of the week. EBO had a very comfortable 11-1 victory over the Drury, who now fall to 3-13. EBO looked great, and the Drury did not. Not a whole lot else to say about it.
Yeah, I have very little to add to this one. EVO beat up on a team that they needed to beat up on. And they are keeping pace here. They are now a game and a half back of the of Erik and I at the top there, only a half game behind Ruthvik. If Ruthvik loses this week, they could jump all the way up to that 3 seed. So, um, and for a team that, I didn't think was playing quite as well the first part of the year, looks like they're playing a bit better recently. Good for them. They're really making a nice run for it down the stretch here.
No, they are, and they do have the tiebreaker over me, which definitely looks like it could be helpful down the stretch. They're 9-4-3. Awesome hitting, 35 doubles, 75 runs, 26 homers. A little low on base percentage, but I mean, they 109 strikeouts, 10 saves, which is kind of crazy. They got three from Class A, three from Robert Suarez, and then two each from Emilio Pagan and Aroldis Chapman. So they're kind of doing well through the bullpen. And additionally, a three quality start week for Shota Imanaga. Um, Only struck out 12 though, in 20 innings, but three quality starts is pretty awesome. On the hitting side, Eugenio Suarez has to match up MVP because he hit seven bombs, drove in 12 runs, and had a 405 on base percentage. But I'd like to give a shout out to Sal Perez as well, um, who has not been having the best season, but had a great week. Kyle Tucker was good too, as was Gunnar Henderson and Colt Keith.
Yeah, well said. Uh, I don't have anything to add.
Um, and I guess the Drury 5.50 ERA. Um, didn't use any ad drops this week. It's tough to see, it's getting harder and harder to see the light at the end of the tunnel for this team. Um, earlier in the season we were saying they turned a corner, but that does not really seem to be looking like the case right this moment.
So I think the light has to come from some of the individual performances. I do think it is a little discouraging that some of their breakouts from last year, i.e. Brenton Doyle, i.e. Mark Vientos, have fallen flat on their face. But, Roman Anthony's come up. They have Mizurowski, Mackenzie Gore's broken out this year. So, I wish maybe they'd be a little more aggressive in trying to target some of these young guys and maybe taking advantage of some of these players when they're at their peak value and moving them. Um, but, at the same time, I think, it might not be a ton, but I think there's still some here to be excited about moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they Mizurowski is someone they can be excited about for sure. And um, I don't know, maybe Daniel's a big Chase Maedroth believer. I'm not sure.
Yeah, wouldn't totally surprise me if that was the case.
But yeah, those are the matchups. Um, yeah. What do we think about this coming slate of matchups? It's a normal length week, week 17. Uh, really only one interesting one, and it's mine, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's you and Ruthvik. I mean, need to you need to win here to kind of keep the top, or I guess you're the fifth seed right now. So you need a win here to not drop the six behind Jake, or be at risk of that. I don't know who owns the tiebreaker between you and him.
I
Um,
won our first matchup, and we're gonna play again in a couple weeks.
got it. Okay, so to kind of keep a little bit of a buffer, whereas Ruthvik, in order to stay as a top three seed, really needs to and to have a chance at a bye, really needs to pull off a win here against you, especially with how tough his schedule will be coming up here. So, um, yeah, this ain't gonna be easy. The rest of them are all playoff teams versus non-playoff teams. We're kind of at that point of the year, especially now, where we kind of have an idea who will and won't be in the playoffs. So these matchups to watch are a little more clear cut. I'll give a shout out to me versus Yuki just because I think Yuki can be a little feisty. And maybe Andrew is a little bit in him going up against EBO, but none of the other matchups really stand out to me.
No, and in fact, yeah, it's probably not a lot of variation expected in our pick'em this week. Who wants to go first?
No, let me pull it up. I will add these up one day. I don't know how long I've been saying that, but actually, I could tell you the last time when we recorded because it's the last time I've updated this little notes app thing on my computer was June 29th, so it's been almost a month. Uh,
Man,
and we have only recorded, and that was only 1 week of matchups. Uh, did you put up the episode right when you proposed, right? That week?
yeah,
You did. Okay. That's true commitment to the league right there. Um, yeah, maybe one day I'll be recording a podcast while proposing, but uh
during during the act of proposing.
yeah, during the act of proposing. I'll be in the middle of it talking about a matchup. It's like Daniel and Matt versus Yuki, and in the middle of it, I'll be like, "Oh shit! By the way, will you marry?"
Matt versus Yuki is a very interesting choice of teams.
Yes. Well, man, I couldn't make it too exciting. That couldn't be like a toxic week. Um,
Of course.
yeah, although that would be wild. I think you would appreciate that, but um, yes. Any, anyways,
Anyways,
yeah,
yeah, so you haven't updated the pick
no.
I've
Uh,
been picking first lately, do you know?
uh, you've been picking first lately, but I'm gonna call audible and pick first because it's easier the way I type it. I'm lazy. Um, I think I'll beat Yuki. I think you'll. I'm gonna pick that one last. I think EBO beats Andrew. I think Jake beats Daniel and Matt. I think Erik beats Conor. I think Anthony beats Alex. And then I'm feeling upsetty this week. I'm gonna pick Ruthvik.
Okay. I think I'm gonna pick everything the same except I'm gonna pick myself over Ruthvik.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I considered picking a tie because it's hard to beat Ruthvik
That's
twice in one
cheap.
season.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna pick myself. I've got confidence in the way my team's playing, which top things said moments before disaster. But I feel good about the way my team's been.
There you go. Be a man of conviction. Actually make a real pick. Let's go.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, now that we have picked them, anything else here about the long week or about the final couple weeks of the season?
Now, I'll see like half of you in a few days. And including you, Cam, I'll see you in like uh 72, no, like 80 something hours
Yeah, 80 something hours, and it'll be fewer than 80 something on the um
by the time this
by
is
the time this
posted.
is up. Maybe some people can listen to the podcast while they're in transit to your location.
Yeah,
Prepare for hearing both of our voices in person.
that would be a lot of fun. Yeah. You can't get enough of Cam and I.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
Until
yeah, well, till next time, we will see some of you then and see the rest of you um, in an audible sort of way next week.
yep, what Cam said. Peace.
Now I'm all alone. House is not a home. You're taking such good care, know you're appreciated. But I miss my baby girl. You know how she means the world. I think I'll stay downstairs.
This podcast is good.